Well, I am honored to be here, and I am honored to be a candidate for the Congressional District, District 5. I believe it's the best district in the state, don't you? Yeah. I'm not going to stand up here and pretend that I'm a sharpshooter or that I'm an avid fly fisherman. I was unfortunate to grow up in a small apartment, and my mom was the breadwinner and the caretaker, and guns were not a big part of my upbringing. But I was fortunate to meet a man over 20 years ago who was an avid sportsman. And he did teach me the benefits and the great opportunities with putting a gun in my hand and putting a line in the water. And so our 7 children have been fortunate also to be raised learning some of the sportsman activities. And it's interesting, our 3 sons are all better with a gun or an arrow, a bow and arrow, than my husband and I put together. And 3 weeks ago, our middle son, Connor, stood up and we lost our dog. My 13-year-old daughter, Kira, lost her Boston Terrier because 2 very blatant coyotes came onto our backyard and took him out. So our second son, Connor, decided that he was taking a week off from work and he was going to stalk and hunt the coyote pack that has been terrorizing our neighborhood. And it took a few shots, but he actually was able to find and kill the coyote. And our 7 children all celebrated. We were in many places. We have kids that live out in Jackson Hole now and in other parts of the country. But we all celebrated that feat, and we were proud parents that our son took aim and took action. He stood up against an animal that was terrorizing our neighborhood, not just other family pets, but we were also concerned about young kids. So I am a member of the NRA, and I also do feel strongly about our Second Amendment, all of our amendments. I don't just think that our Second Amendment is only about gun rights. I believe it's about our liberty, and it's about making sure our government does not continue to encroach on our freedom and our liberty. It's more important than just guns. I believe that right now we are at a tipping point. We can be makers, or we can be takers. We can be an opportunity society, or we can be an entitlement society. I know what kind of America I want to live in, and what kind of America I want to fight for. How about you? I want a country where freedom and opportunity reign, and where hard work and competition are rewarded. And I've worked hard all my life. I grew up in a very poor household. I worked hard for my education. I've worked hard for my family. I've worked hard for my family of businesses. I know what it takes to meet a bottom line and make a payroll. I know what it takes to deal with all of the obstacles that our government puts in front of small businesses. I believe we need to send people to Washington with real-world experience, with common sense and strong principles. That's what's going to turn our country around. I went to school for physical therapy. At 18, I chose that field. And I'll tell you a quick story about one of my first patients. His name was Sam. He was a farmer, young 40. I went into the ICU unit, and I saw the nurses and doctors, and they were looking at me. They knew I was green. Fresh eyes, right out of school. And they did not believe that Sam would ever leave that hospital. He had had a major coronary, and he was in a coma. And I was naive, and I was green. I was newly minted, but I was passionate. And I went into his room, and for 3 days, I worked his body, and I tried to get him to show some sign of life. On the 3rd day, he blinked. And that was my sign. My mother always taught me, you work hard and you say a little prayer. And that's what I did with Sam. And it took months, and it wasn't pain-free. But Sam walked out of that hospital with a cane and his 3 young kids behind him. I refuse to give up on Sam. I will never give up on America. Now, our economy is flat on its back. And we need to use every resource and every tenacious bone in my body to make sure that we get it kicking again and we get our country moving forward. We can't do this alone. We need everyone in this room to support the candidate so we can take back our country, take back the seat. I promise you this. I will not only protect the Second Amendment, I will protect the Constitution. And I will make sure that we move that tipping point, and that, that point where we can move to the right or we can move to the left. I know which side I'm on. How about you? Thank you very much.